Hello, everybody. Welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, also published on Rumble and on Patreon for extra support. Yeah, it's been a little bit difficult for me to do some live streams lately. It's been at least a week or so. But yeah, I do my best to get at least around 2 hours per day. So I know I can do some live streams without being interrupted there. But it's been a little bit difficult lately. But again, I will try every day to see when I have at least a couple of hours to do so. Other than that, weekdays gaming news program, and for now it's what I can commit. Again, without fixed scheduling with anything there at the moment. Let's go some news. Interestingly, AMD is expecting some weaker gaming demand in the second half of this year. Again, it comes around to the fact that everything that has memory modules, the prices skyrocketed the last months, and it's been unbearable for people to, as a hobby, having a gaming PC to invest that much. Plus the fact that everything is increasing in price. Again, it's a shit show at the moment. And again, the predictions here, at least for the consumer products, they predict again less demand. In that sense, they will not for sure manufacture that much. Because the prices supposedly are going to maintain a little bit higher. But on the other side, the B2B, so business to business, is revving up with this AI bubble still. Again, it's seemingly a little bit difficult to burst in the sense that, again, I don't know how long this self-sustaining kind of bubble will continue. Again, I don't see that the majority of companies profiting from the business of using, I don't know, AI agents or whatever they are called, from the chat GPTs and the Claudes and whatever they are called. I barely used any of those. I used ChatGPT a couple of times to try not to fact check, because again, when you use ChatGPT, you always go to the sources that ChatGPT uses, so you can see if the sources are reliable to a certain degree. But to aggregate information, try to aggregate a certain amount of information, so I can have a sense of what I'm looking for, if it is kind of in the way. But it also can be used as a tool to, at least you have that ChatGPT as an aggregator of information, so you can check the sources of that information. And I think I used the DeepSeek a couple of times also, for the same purposes, to try and compare what kind of sources do for a specific question that I have, that usually it's mainly used for as an aggregator of results, so I can have an average of whatever information that I'm looking for. I barely use it for anything else. Maybe a couple of times as a satisfy curiosity how it handles certain things from text creation. But again, you can see it's kind of always been a little bit of you can see that it's AI that is working there. But then again, I don't know. Given that all of these big stuff in terms of AI models, let's say, you usually have like always a free tier, and I don't think they are doing enough money from, I don't know, subscription services. Even though, again, the information that you put, if you log in, the information that you input from your login, it's always sold between all of these companies, and I think it's what's to a certain degree delaying this bubble bursting, because again, the money kind of has a circle around it of companies that want information, and basically these AI companies that are providing that information or sell part of that information, of course. Plus the fact that I'm not sure if they can manage to do enough money to as a profit. You got also the case of ChatGPT main company, OpenAI, supposedly is a non-profit company, which basically I don't know how they sell their business model of you just inject money and the company doesn't even make money out of it, or doesn't make enough money to be profitable, because if it is, you have to I don't know, change the model of business. Again, I'm not sure the legalities of that. We saw, I think Elon Musk put a lawsuit or something like that to OpenAI regarding that business model of non-profit. Again, a lot of stuff going around. Plus the fact that these companies are not doing enough money from their business models. Uh, Again, they are counting with this injection of money of I don't know, a venture capitalist to buy the hardware, and because companies know that for the for the time being, because they are, most of them, it seems that they don't need to make profits, so the amount of money they can spend can be justified by increasing a little bit more the hardware price of their AI accelerators there. Again, it's very interesting to see that again, these companies at this moment, it's kind of a Netflix kind of a model, because Netflix in the first years until relatively recently, they were not working as a per profit company. Again, they were assuming they were at least, I don't know, I think 5 to 10 years on fund on not a profit margin there. Eventually they manage, I think they are profitable now from my understanding, but it's kind of in that way that it's still on that phase, that because they don't need to have any profits from the revenues versus the expenditures that they have to have, especially on hardware and maintenance of that hardware. It seems that it's still lingering, this thing with AI, and again, the fact that the hardware prices are still very high on the B2B side of things. Again, uh, there's and there, because there is such a limited amount of manufacturing of the chips, from memory chips to even the CPU chips, GPU chips, everything that is needed for the AI accelerators. Again, the priority is going there, and because then it leads to less production for the consumer market, which leads itself again as a 101 in terms of markets. You have less offer, the demand maintains the same, the prices will increase, and then it will result inevitably on less demand, because again, the price is so high that the demand runs off, and you stick with the stock at the moment. And also the fact that we don't have anything new in this year, at least in terms, in this case, GPUs side of things. I think the 50 series super variant or tier was supposed to come out this year. Nothing there. The 60 series and even RDNA 5 is being, at least for the moment, possibly delayed to next year. Again, plus the fact that the CPUs that we had from AMD here, again, most of them are for OEM systems, the Ryzen 400Gs, and then we got the 9850X3D and the 9950X3D2 CPUs that came out again. They perform very well, but then again, the price to performance ratio doesn't compensate for you to upgrade if you ever have a decent enough CPU for your games or for your PC there. Again, it's a little bit frustrating still. The fact that from, let's say, AMD, we are still seeing what we can get from the FSR4 support, even for older GPUs. Again, supposedly it's possible, but officially AMD is not supporting that. I think FSR, in terms of the upscaling part of that FSR4, could lend a little bit extra juice for older GPUs. For example, mine 7900 XTX, sorry. If it could handle officially FSR4 upscaling, I don't know, might entice a little bit extra spending on other side of the business. I don't know, maybe a little bit a better CPU there, because now you can get the upscaler to run more frames, and for that you will eventually need a better CPU if your CPU cannot handle those frames there. Yeah, again, a very downturn in terms of the consumer market, at least. Again, this comes from oh my God, Lisa Su, in terms of what they are expecting on the second half of this year. Hopefully, we can start getting, if not a stabilization, at least a slow decline in terms of prices. But again, I'm not seeing that. Mainly because there is this Strait Hormuz situation, and one of the main raw materials that will be needed to produce high-end chips is helium and sulfuric acid, and I think another one that it's comes, I think, at least between a third to almost half of the inventory that comes regarding those materials come from the Strait of Hormuz, which at this time is technically blocked, let's say. But yeah, it's a shit show at the moment, and I think hopefully we can see at least starting some decline because there is less demand, and then the markets try to adjust by start lowering a little bit the prices there. But I think if this continues, specifically on the Strait of Hormuz situation, in terms of raw materials needed for production of high-end chips, I think mainly the most critical one, I think, is sulfuric acid because it kind of cleans the PCB stuff there, if not mistaken. And then helium that it's used, I think it's to cool the machinery. I think helium is used in that way, if not mistaken. Again, I'm not an engineer, but at least makes a little bit of sense if that's the case. Yeah, we probably, if we don't see, because at least a third of those materials are not in the supply chain for the companies to do those chips. Again, we'll be seeing a slowdown in production, which again will get the inventory lower, and then the prices will inevitably creep up again, even on the business to business model. And then, of course, that will trickle down immediately for the consumer market. Again, it's going to be interesting, to say the least, to see how the market evolves. Hopefully we got some, and I don't know, we are beginning of May. Hopefully by the end of this month we can see at least something coming out and kind of normalize the situation in that Strait of Hormuz, for them to again to start trickle down on the in all the infrastructure and supply chain that there is on the high-end chips. And I don't know, but it will take some time there. Again, I covered some news in the last weeks regarding new fabs from SQ Hynix. I think they are making a mega fab stuff there. Also, the Tesla stuff with Intel, some fabs there. I think TSMC also is wrapping up or trying to finish up another fab in the United States, I think Arizona. But yeah, but those projects are still like at least a year from now to be concluded, and then I don't know how many weeks they will need to start production, and that then will only trickle down a few months afterwards on the production market. Again, let's see how that goes. But at this moment, I'm not sure how good it is a moment to build a new PC. Again, it's just if you really need to, just look the best price to performance product that you can get out of your money's worth, depending on the product that you need. But yeah, it's going to be, at least my prediction is going to be a little bit difficult to get around this. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And kind of continuing with that, PC manufacturers to see massive decline in motherboard shipments. Again, mainly because even though the motherboards themselves are expensive if you buy a good one, but you still have a good entry point in terms of motherboards. At least from the AM5 platform, you still have pretty decent motherboards. They are cheap and perform well. Usually I go for hardware on box. They usually do those roundup, or depending on the chipset of the motherboard, they do very good roundups, so you have a sense of what kind of motherboard you should aim for. But yeah, the fact that everything around that fits in that motherboard, from DDR, the GPU stuff because of the memory, and now the increasing demand of CPUs. Again, all that combined, people are not trying to build new systems, or even trying to maybe. I don't know. Maybe if you are upgrading, you're upgrading with a motherboard, but usually that makes more sense if you are upgrading from I don't know, from a platform, let's say AM4 to AM5, and you're looking to upgrade a little bit there. Again, it's not justifiable, mainly because now you have to buy new memory kits, you have to buy a new CPU. The CPUs are still okay-ish, from my understanding, but it's the DRAM kits that are way expensive, more expensive than it should be, around about like 4 times before the end of last year in terms of comparison of the prices. Again, we are seeing, we supposedly will see some less manufacturing or maybe less launches of motherboards throughout the year. Let's see. But yeah, there are still good motherboards there. At least for AM5 platforms is the one that I know best. But yeah, this is kind of in line with the industry, kind of how where it's going at this moment, throughout at least at this time point of the year. And again, I hope this improves as fast as we can, as fast as it can, because even again with the Strait of Hormuz situation, which basically is it's missing on the market that the necessity of materials, again, helium, sulfuric acid, and I think a couple of more, that at least one third of the global supply comes from that strait. Again, even if there is less demand for people to buy this and eventually the prices drop again, the manufacturers cannot manufacture more of the chips because the at least one third of that supply is being cut off at this moment. So, and again, it's going to be interesting to see how this will evolve. On other good news, we got Valve releases the Steam Controller CAD files, so the modding can begin here. Again, Steam it's one of those companies that again on the part of the app itself as a platform, presenting a service to customers. Again, even though it's a monopoly, I think it's I can kind of say with some confidence it's the only positive monopoly that we have on the games industry. It's I have my worries when, for example, Gabe Newell just retires or passes away or something like that. Again, because again, this comes a lot from the philosophy of principles that Gabe Newell has on what he wants to deliver to the consumers. And one of these is the fact that they are very open, specifically with this new Steam controller, not only the repairability and replacement of the internal components, specifically the battery, the fact that they already have kind of a partnership with iFixit, so people can do it yourself in terms of repair, replace things. They are putting basically now the CAD files for modding, for, I don't know, from accessories. I think for now, I'm not sure if the CAD files only goes about the cover side of things, or if you can also do like customized buttons. I'm not sure how that works, but in terms of the CAD file stuff there. But yeah, it's official. People can download this and start tinkering and see how it goes. There is also a side here regarding the Steam machine. Again, I think that the people are just waiting for this to come out also, so they can tweak around and do some stuff here. Again, I covered yesterday regarding the 50-ton equipment that they received for console hardware. Again, we don't know if it is this little thing here, the Steam machine or not. But yeah, for now, the Steam controller has the CAD file, so you can 3D print accessories for you to use the controller. And then we got from Pragmata, it tops 2 million sales in 16 days since it came out. Again, it's one of those games that I'm really interested to play one of these days. Again, I still have my backlog filled on the Steam games there library. I got at least, I can count on the top of my head, around 10 games or so that I bought throughout some certain promotions here and there throughout the last year. That I want to delve deep and try it out to see if they are good or not before buying new games, or else I'm just spending money for nothing, even if I buy basically all games when there is a sale available. But yeah, it's good to see. I'm waiting for when I have time to try it out, this game, and probably I will do a series on it. I'm not sure how I'm going to approach this, but yeah, it's good to see. And then lastly, we got here a studio. We got a new studio here. Again, the fact that we got a lot of layoffs, studio closings, it's still not surprising, but it's still good to see that there is some money around to be invested in approaching and founding new studios here. This studio Ricochet, again, it is headquartered in Quebec, Canada. and it's going to be led by a core leadership team that built Gearbox Studio Quebec. So they are at home, let's say, with the goal of creating original premium games. Again, it's good to see also that they are investing in new IPs, not just working on IPs from other studios, something like that. And at this moment, it's currently developing an original co-op adventure game for console and PC. Again, the studio's founder, again, I'm not going to try to pronounce these names. They are former studio heads at Gearbox Studio, alongside with Borderlands creative director Maxime Badin, sorry, and former Gearbox Studio Quebec director of creative development. Veteran developers from Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, and other major franchises are also part of the leadership team. Again, it seems to have a good pedigree inside of the studio. But yeah, it's good to see that. Let's see what they can cook in the meantime, and hopefully they can come out with a good game. Again, even though it's a co-op game, usually it's not for me. I like single player stuff there, but yeah, it's good to see what they are going to come up with, and if it is good and sells well, they can continue to develop games, hopefully in another genre. But yeah, it's always good to see these things here. But yeah, this is what caught my attention here. For today, I'm just going to wrap up with some gaming deals. We got Balatro at this moment. It's 20% off. Again, I don't have a lot of time on record here on the PC. I played, I don't know, 50 or between 50 or 100 hours on the cell phone this game, and again, I can confirm it's overwhelmingly positive and very addicting. Again, if you like roguelike deck builders, this one is very, very good to keep you on the hook here. And again, even at full price, I can recommend this game if you like this type of games. We got also Baldur's Gate 3 is still on sale, 25% off on the base game. We got 60% off Jusant. I can recommend this game, even at full price. Is an excellent experience because I made a series out of it. It's on the main page of the channel in the playlist section of completed gameplay series. So if you want to have a look, so you can make sure if it is something for you or not, please do so. Got also Children of Morta. Again, I'm very interested in playing this game. It's kind of a roguelike with pixel graphics, isometric view. It has online co-op if you want, or multiplayer in this case. It's one of those that, again, it's a roguelike. I always like a good roguelike, and seems to have a very interesting story here. Again, 85% off. Again, it's a no-brainer. Again, very cheap, and it seems pretty good. And then lastly, we got the Invisible, narrative-driven story, very similar in terms of how you play it, I suppose, like Firewatch. At least that's the sense that I got. And again, it's based on the Stanislav book of hard sci-fi, or the same name here. Again, 60% off until the 19th of May. But yeah, for today, I'm going to wrap up here with just a final plug on the Patreon page. Again, I don't do anything exclusive here, and I don't intend to do. I just use Patreon here as a means of people, if they want to give me some extra support on my hobby here. But yeah, other than that, I will try to do some live stream later on, as usual. If I can, pay attention to my Twitter, because I usually tweet when I live stream. But yeah, other than that, I hope you have a full day, and until the next one, Kunami Master out.